Hello there, boys and girls. It's great to see you again here in the Kingdom of Chess. Today, I'm going to tell you where the game of chess came from. There are those who say that the game of chess came from India, and also those who insist that the game was invented in China. And there are those who go as far back as the age of dinosaurs. There's one thing we can all agree on, that the game of chess is a very old game. Maybe hundreds, if not thousands of years old. The story I'll tell you will reveal how the game of chess came to a kingdom somewhere in Europe, and from there spread across the globe and became a game of kings and all the people. Many years ago, in a peaceful kingdom, there lived a king. He was good-hearted and very wise, and he had 2 sons. The princes had very, very long names, and so they were simply called the White Prince and the Black Prince. Why were they called that way? Because ever since the princes were born, they each liked things that were either black and white. The Black Prince loved everything that was black. He wore black clothing, he had black horses, and the color of his beloved dogs, of course, was black. And what about the White Prince? You guessed right. Everything he chose to have had to be painted the color white. He wore white clothing, and his horses, of course, were all white. Despite the difference of color, the 2 brothers loved doing things together. They ate, slept, played, and shared everything with each other. Years passed. The princes grew up, and one day, the king called his 2 sons and said, "I have grown old, and it is hard for me to rule. I wish to pass the kingdom over to you." The princes were thrilled to take on such great responsibility, and together began to rule over the kingdom. At first, they got along wonderfully. They ruled together over the kingdom and cared for their subjects. But it didn't take very long before the brothers began to argue with each other. The White Prince wanted the kingdom to have a white flag, while the Black Prince wanted it black. When the Black Prince ordered that the castle walls be painted black, the White Prince insisted they be painted white. What began as a small dispute soon turned into a heated argument and eventually almost a war. They were so mad at each other that each of the princes gathered together an army of pawns, knights, and rooks, and each announced that he wouldn't give up until the other prince surrendered. The princes dressed their soldiers in their favorite color and again vowed that they would never surrender to the other. On each side of the kingdom, the army stood, black on one side and white on the other, and they were all ready to fight. I'm sure you're thinking that it would have been much better to find a peaceful solution that would have settled everything. But the princes were already so angry and already prepared for a war that there was no way back. One evening, just before the princes were about to start the war with each other, there appeared in the castle of the Black Prince an old man with a pointy hat and a long robe, and asked to speak with His Highness the Black Prince. The servant relayed the message to the prince, but he immediately refused. No, I have no time to meet anyone. I'm busy planning out the battle." The old man overheard the prince's words and said to the servant, "Return to your prince and tell him that I know of a way that he can be victorious in the war." When the Black Prince heard of this, he immediately ordered the old man to come before him. The old man stood before the Black Prince holding an old chest, checkered with alternating black and white stones. The old man opened the chest and began to take out different pieces, each painted black or white. Here are the king and the queen, the rooks, bishops, knights, and pawns. The Black Prince gasped in amazement as the chest transformed into a checkered board. The old man placed each piece in its place, the white pieces on one side and the black pieces on the other. "That army must be mine," said the Black Prince, pointing at the black pieces. "That's right," said the old man, as he pointed at the white pieces and said, "These are your brothers." And there stood the 2 armies, black facing white. The old man explained to the prince the game's rules and how each piece could move about the board. and how one could strategize and wisely plan out their moves in order to win. The two began to play, and the Black Prince was so focused on the game that he forgot all about his brother and their battle. Yet when he suddenly remembered, he quickly sent a messenger to his brother, the White Prince, with a proposal of a ceasefire. The White Prince said yes to his brother's offer and yet demanded to know what happened. He was told that the Black King was playing a game of strategy. The White Prince was surprised and asked to meet his brother and see the game. Then, the Black Prince recalled the good times when he and his brother had been such good friends and had joyously shared everything and happily accepted his brother's request for a visit. When the White Prince arrived at the castle, he quickly learned the rules of the game, and the two brothers began to play. They played one game after the other, as each game became longer and longer, lasting an hour, a day, and even one game that lasted a week. Sometimes the White Prince won, and other times the Black Prince won. And finally, when their anger had completely disappeared, the two proclaimed an end to the war and ordered their armies to return home. The brothers signed a peace treaty and split the kingdom into equal halves, white squares and black squares, exactly like a chessboard. The princes agreed to continue playing chess at least once a week on a life-sized royal chessboard built in a shared park between their kingdoms, and everyone in the kingdom were invited to watch the game. Yet the two princes always wondered who the mysterious old man was that introduced them to the game and then suddenly disappeared. The prince sent out messengers to all corners of the kingdoms to search for the old man, but in vain. The old man was simply nowhere to be found. When the time for the royal chess game had arrived, and everyone in the kingdom gathered to see the game, suddenly the mysterious old man appeared. And when he removed his robe and hat, the old man turned out to be their father, the wise old king. The sons hugged their wise father, who had succeeded in bringing peace to the land thanks to the game of chess. And then the wise father gave his royal blessing to the start of the first official royal chess game. And so it was. From that day on, all the wars in the kingdom were waged only on the chessboard. After the games, the two rivals would talk about their game plan and their winning moves, often showing off, and of course, they'd learn from their mistakes. The princes grew older, and one day, the White King married, of course, the White Queen. And the Black King, guess who the Black King married? Right, the Black Queen. And each family had 8 beautiful children, and they too dressed in their beloved black or white. Each royal family had knights and bishops and rooks who were black and white. And ever since, the kingdom of chess lived in peace and harmony until this very day. And so, that's our story of how the game of chess came to be. And now, I think the time has come to go and play. See you in our next lesson in the Kingdom of Chess. See you soon.